is more focused on the newspaper because it happens later in the day,
Mm-hmm.
closer to the newspaper deadline.
Which are the elements that the piece must have in order to be the cover of the New York Times?
Well, what I like to think of is that the New York Times, you know, has a depth of reporting that is unique, and we have an ability to take readers behind the news as well as report the news. I always say I love the story behind the story almost more
see.
than the news itself. So it is taking, the time and being a good enough reporter that you're, getting lots of detail. And I prefer stories that show through reported material than what I call tell stories, which is using an authority voice just to say what a news event means. So it's a signature kind of reporting that the Times excels at.
I see. Yesterday you published a great story about Argentina.
Yes, that was a quite gripping, very
Very
story.
sad.
Yeah.
Very sad and very well written.
Very well written, very rich in character. That is a story that would have been prepared, a long time.
A long time?
I first heard about the story about 10 days ago.
Wow. Yes. So, which is the most decisive moment of the day?
The most decisive moment?
The
most decisive moment of the day is always when there's a sudden large news event, and I am deciding along with my editorial team how to deploy our reporters quickly, how many stories to run, how to, split up the coverage so that we're reporting every angle of a situation, making sure both our reporters and photographers and videographers are safe if it's, a battle zone. All of that goes into those, and that's deciding under pressure.
Under pressure,
yes.
Of course. What happened here when Steve Jobs' death happened?
That happened at night, and it now is second nature to us to react instantaneously. And what we did is we had a reporter, John Markoff, who's covered Silicon Valley for us since forever, and has knew Steve Jobs well since 1976 when Apple was founded, and he had prepared in advance a very thorough obituary of Mr. Jobs. And John, worked immediately to update that with the news of his death, and we posted that quickly. John also turned around a video on Jobs, because, having correspondents like John Markoff is what sets the Times apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then we very quickly included readers, began sending in photographs. I mean, the thing that struck us almost immediately was how moved people were by Mr. Jobs' death, and what a personal connection a lot of people felt to him, because his products had brought, both tremendous utility and pleasure into their lives. And so we began posting, reader photographs. Twitter saw an outpouring of people writing, tweeting about Jobs, and we picked out some of the most, striking and moving ones of those, and we, ran those in real time on our website. I was not still in the office. I had something to do that night, but I called in, and all of this was deployed, and I called in shortly after the news broke. But Larry Ingrassia, who was our business editor, was the he got all of this in train working with our colleagues in the digital space.
I see. You met Steve Jobs
Yes,
personally?
I had met him once. I did. He came to the Times to show us the iPad right before he unveiled it publicly, and he came and talked to a meeting.
What do you think at that time when you met him
I was struck, first of all, about how passionate he was about the iPad and his belief that it would change the way people read and look at photos. And, I think at the time the iPad came out, there was a lot of skeptical articles about it, like why would people need this in their lives? But what came through from Steve Jobs is how he believed in this product and how excited he was about it.
How is the relationship between the New York Times and the iPad?
Well, we have a great iPad app, which is, as I mentioned to you earlier, the first thing I begin reading very early in the morning. And, it both looks fabulous and is a very reader-friendly way to digest almost the whole Times news report.
Yes, it is. And how many people read the New York Times from the iPad?
It is, it's not our largest audience. Many more people read it on our website.
Yes. How many? On the website?
On the website, it's about 47 million globally
unique visitors.
Yeah.
And how the paywall is working?
It's working, my business side colleagues should be the ones to answer detailed questions about the paywall, but everyone is very pleased with the response, and, almost all of our home delivery subscribers have, signed up for the digital model, and hundreds of thousands of other people who weren't getting the print paper seem like quite content to pay for the quality journalism that we provide. And I think the way that we designed our digital subscription plan was with a lot of flexibility. So only our heavy readers are being asked, are confronting, a pay request. People who read, 20 or more articles a month, and people, for one of the most popular programs that we offer is for the mobile and website, and lots of people have signed up for that. For next we offer an apps and website, and then an all access plan. But for a lot of readers, we're still free unless they're reading, depending on the New York Times, heavily for their news coverage, and then we think it's fair to ask them to pay. But we are also very much part of the free web as well, which means we've managed to keep our audience very large and to keep our advertisers happy. So it's sort of the best of all worlds.
This is an exclusive idea of the New York Times, this mix.
I think more publications are looking to do what we've done, but you have to deliver on having a very high quality product, because people are used to, on the web, news being free. But what I said to you earlier about the kind of quality reporting and intelligent analysis and great opinion content that the Times offers is just, no one else offers that.
So there is no journalism without intelligence?
That, I don't think so. I think that the demand for quality journalism actually in a media environment where there are, more and more competitors means that people want to know what they can count on and feel that the Times delivers on its promise to give them news that is accurate, that is reported in a very timely way, that is thoroughly analyzed, and brings readers places where they would never get to go in other publications.
Yes. So, which are, in just a few words, the new challenges for journalism? For the print newspaper also. What do you think about the possibilities of survival of the print?
I think the print newspaper is going to survive for a long time. Readers seem to really love, the print newspaper and the serendipity that you get from turning pages and reading something that you weren't searching for, but which catches your interest for reasons that sometimes you don't even understand. And it's very convenient. You can, carry it around. And, actually we have more readers who have subscribed to the print newspaper for 2 years or more, at which point we consider them to be addicted to the New York Times than we had a few years ago. So that number has gone up, which is very gratifying. So I think there's plenty of life in the print paper.
Okay, I see. How do you imagine the newspaper, this newspaper in 5 years' time?
How do I envision it?
Yeah.
I envision it having, the very same focus, which is to, just report. We have, quite a big news gathering operation, and unlike some of our competitors, we have had to have some staff cuts, but not ones that, have inhibited our news gathering. We still have lots of foreign news bureaus. We still have lots of domestic news bureaus. Many newspapers have cut in the United States their national correspondents in the largest U.S. cities, and we've actually opened some new bureaus in Kansas City, in the heart of the country, and in Phoenix, which is which is a rapidly growing city that is living through some of the worst parts of the economic crisis, especially home foreclosures. And we think our readers really do expect the world from us, and we're still delivering that. We have a fantastic global audience, both through the International Herald Tribune, which the Times owns, but we have a big chunk of our readers come from abroad to the New York Times site.
Yes, of course.
And so in order to fulfill our promise to all of those readers, we've got to keep our news gathering muscle really strong.
Okay, so last question. What do you think about, for example, in Argentina, we are under the press, we are under attack from the government. What do you think about the situation, this kind of situation in some countries, in Latin America and others?
Well, I think it makes us appreciate how important a free press is, and that many of our colleagues are courageous in doing the sometimes dangerous work that they do.
Yes.
But they do it because they have a passion to tell the truth and bring their stories before the public, especially in countries where the government tries to control the message and prevent the true stories from coming out.
Okay.